Hi everyone, my name is Brandon and thanks for clicking this video. I really appreciate it. I want to get right to the point because I filmed this video already and I feel like I was just like spewing out all the facts because I wanted to get the point across, and I, wanted to sit down and sort of take it easy a little bit and take my time. And I just had to wait an hour for the person who lives above me to stop singing. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the company Everlane. Specifically, they just launched a new product and it's a sneaker and it's called Tread by Everlane. My goal with this video is not to bash Everlane or to bring Everlane down. I want to make that super clear. I'm not here to bring down the company in any way. I just want to point out some things that are a little bit misleading. I want to point out a couple of facts that are slightly inaccurate, and I want to also just hopefully make some people aware that this is something that a lot of companies are doing right now, and a lot of people call it greenwashing, and it's because, being environmentally friendly and being eco-friendly is really trendy right now. It's really buzzy and it's really great for marketing. So a lot of companies are using those words and claiming those things and not backing up those claims and not putting their money where their mouth is and not owning up to the things that they are doing that are really not environmentally friendly and are really actually detrimental to the environment. Do you hear this? I can't deal. So Everlane is a company that prides itself on being ethical and sustainable, and you can read all about it on their website. They talk about it there. I'm actually gonna go to the website right now. Oh, also, if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I have my computer here and this is where I have all the facts. Okay, from Everlane's website, you go right to the About page and right away it says, "We believe we can all make a difference. Our way, exceptional quality, ethical factories, and radical transparency." And then they go into like their ethical approach. It's actually really interesting, and I will say that Everlane does not position itself as a vegan company. They've never done that, and it's a company that I've actually been really interested in for a long time, and I've supported them. They do sell products with animal skins, and I have never purchased those, but they also make a lot of products that are really sustainable, and they are really transparent about their factories and their processes and why things are priced a certain way. So I really do appreciate that about the company, and I've always perceived Everlane as being really forward-thinking. However, about a month ago, Everlane started to market this new product that they were coming out with, a sneaker, Tread by Everlane. They said that it was going to be, on the path to zero impact, and it was going to be super low impact, the most sustainable sneaker, and they had a lot of really high claims, and it was marketed very, very well. I was intrigued. I immediately signed up for the wait list, or the email list or whatever. I was really excited, and I talked to my friends about this, and I was like, this is really exciting, I think Everlane is really gonna get this right. I remember saying there's no way that they could use leather or suede in these shoes if they're looking to move towards zero impact. If you go to the Tread by Everlane site, it says, front row center, a new kind of sneaker brand on the path to zero impact. The mission, make the world's lowest impact sneakers, make them to last, make them carbon neutral, and never stop pushing to make them better. Those are some interesting claims. They break it down into two steps. Step one is calculating the carbon footprint. And they say an independent life cycle assessment puts the total emissions for each pair of shoes at 51.5 kilograms of carbon dioxide. That accounts for every step in the trainer's production back to growing food for the cattle. It's not a small number, but while we're working to bring it down, that's where offsetting comes in. So that's what they say, and I want to say that on the day that they launched this shoe, I saw that it was made with leather, and I was honestly shocked. I couldn't believe that they were choosing to use animal skins in these shoes, and then they were claiming to be zero impact. So I went to the site and I started doing some research. They say that each pair of shoes have the total emissions of 51.5 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Now, that's all well and good, and carbon dioxide is the emission that is sort of most frequently talked about when people talk about climate change. But, pulling up the files, livestock and their byproducts are responsible for at least 32,000 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions every year, or 51% of all worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. By the way, I'm going to be linking all of the different sources that I use in the description if you want to check it out, or if you don't believe me, or whatever. Also, when you're talking about animals, you need to take methane into consideration. Methane is an emission that is 28 to 36 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. Cows produce 150 billion gallons of methane every day. That's a lot of methane, because it's a lot of cows. And since methane is so much more powerful than carbon dioxide, in order for Everlane to really accurately calculate their global warming climate change impact, they need to be taking methane into consideration, and they just totally leave that out of the equation here. And I do want to note that this is from a company who just recently launched a collaboration with the New York Times to highlight the impacts of climate change. And right on the shirt it says, what we put on our plates, which is talking about animal agriculture and the huge impact that it has on climate change. I mean, for them to say that and release that collaboration and highlight the impacts of climate change and then turn around and release a product that directly supports one of the leading causes of climate change is just like, I have to laugh. The other emission I want to touch on is nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is a greenhouse gas that has 296 times the warming potential of carbon dioxide and which stays in the atmosphere for 150 years. Livestock is responsible for 65% of all human-related emissions of nitrous oxide. And again, these are statistics that Everlane just does not mention in their carbon footprint. That leads me into their next point, step 2, which is to offset the emissions. They say, carbon offset projects reduce the impact of greenhouse gas emissions. We partnered with Native Energy to support their work with ranchers to improve cattle grazing practices on American grasslands, which leads to better soil health, cleaner waterways, and greater carbon sequestration into the soil. So let's look at a couple of different parts of this. First off, I want to talk about this company that they're partnering with, Native Energy. What Native Energy does is essentially invests in projects that are going to help sequester carbon into the soil. Carbon sequestering is when carbon from the atmosphere is pulled back into the earth itself. 30% of carbon sequestering happens directly from forests, and it's curious that Everlane mentions carbon sequestering when about 80% of rainforest deforestation that happens in the world today is directly attributed to animal agriculture. So when we're taking those forests down, we're actually reducing the ability of our planet to sequester carbon back into the soil. And that's what causes all of these greenhouse gases to stay in the atmosphere and warm the climate. Another note I want to make about carbon sequestering real quick is that fishing practices reduce our planet's ability to sequester carbon. 48% of our fossil fuel emissions are sequestered into the ocean from phytoplankton that get fertilized by whales. In fact, the Southern Ocean alone is responsible for keeping 2 million tons of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because those whales no longer exist. They're being killed by these fishing practices. So I just wanted to highlight that because that is another huge impact of going vegan, because you're not supporting those fishing practices anymore, which directly lead to, the loss of these whales and the loss of the ocean's ability to sequester carbon. The Native Energy website explains carbon sequestering if you want to check that out, and they actually say, quote, human activities affect this process, leading to carbon loss, with modern agriculture and land use as the second largest contributors to global greenhouse gas emissions. Right behind energy production, farms are on the front lines of climate change. So this company that they're partnering with says that these farms and animal agriculture as an industry are these huge contributors to climate change. And Everlane is basically saying that is the case, we guess, but we're gonna partner with them and we're gonna make it look really good and we're gonna neutralize our carbon footprint. Everlane supporting the animal agriculture industry by them using their skins in their products, they're directly supporting that industry. So for them to claim that they are neutralizing their carbon impact is not really true, because they are supporting these industries with these huge amounts of methane and carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide emissions. There's just no possible way that they could offset that by, partnering with this company. A better idea might be to not support the industry that is one of the leading causes of climate change. On the Tread by Everlane website, they do say 42% less electricity, 56% less water, 20% less greenhouse gas. And specifically regarding water, I just want to point out that 2,500 gallons of water are required to produce 1 pound of beef. And Everlane said to me in an email that their manufacturers of these animal skins are from places where these cows are being killed for food. So in terms of water usage, I don't think those numbers are accurate. Regarding water in general, I always see these lists of things that you can do to save water. And it'll be number 1, say it with me, take shorter showers. And it's just really such bullshit. If you go vegan, the amount of water that you will actually save because of the amount of water that goes into growing crops for all of these animals that we are mass producing all around the world is insane. You save so much water. I mean, let's be clear, going vegan is the most impactful way that you can make a change here. And that brings me to my last point, and I just want to touch on leather in general. So Everlane's point on using leather is that it's from a gold certified tannery. Saigon Tantec is raising standards for tanneries everywhere. It's certified gold by the Leather Working Group. I mean, what? There's this common misconception that leather is a byproduct of the meat industry. I think it's more accurate to say that it's a co-product. Sometimes it's even more economically valuable to be getting these animal skins. And we're actually seeing more and more animals being killed for their skins than their flesh. Everlane did make that point to me. In their email to me, they said, if it helps to know, all leather sourced for our materials is byproduct. So the animals are not raised intentionally for their skin. The cows are pasture raised. How nice. Then once they are killed for meat, the hide is saved to be treated and made into leather. So, I mean, just because a cow is pasture raised does not make it any better that you're killing it. Sorry, I mean, these animals want to live just as much as all of us, and that's a whole other argument in itself. But to say that they're pasture raised in this paragraph is just besides the point. They also made a point to me that all of their manufacturers follow the 5 freedoms rule, which includes freedom from fear and distress, which is pretty ridiculous because any animal heading towards slaughter is going to show signs of fear and distress. Just watch the movie Dominion, you can see all about it. And if you're too scared to watch that movie, maybe you should think about where your food is coming from. And the last point I'll make on this is if you support animal agriculture as a company, you're supporting an industry where calves raised for beef are subjected to a variety of painful procedures without anesthesia, dehorning, castration, ear tagging, and hot iron branding. And this is just cows that we're talking about. We haven't even talked about all of the other horrors of the animal agriculture industry. This is just cows. By marketing a leather product and essentially saying that they are okay with the animal agriculture industry and wearing animal products, they're encouraging people to continue on with the exploitation of animals for our own personal use. And to circle back on CO2, they're helping contribute to people's individual carbon dioxide emissions of about 3 tons of carbon dioxide per person per year, which is shown to come directly from animal agriculture. That's 3 tons of carbon dioxide that you could save every year by going vegan. Some studies even say that that number is underestimated and it could be up to half of our individual overall emissions. The bottom line is you can't claim to be an environmentally friendly or ethical company and support animal agriculture. You just can't. I'm gonna link their rating on this website called Good For You, which ranks different fashion brands based on their ethics and sustainability, and they gave Everlane a rating of not good enough, which I totally agree with, but I will link that down below. And all of this is not to say that it is difficult for them to make the right choice and not support animal agriculture. We can look to other companies like Native Shoes and even Adidas, which has announced this new Futurecraft shoe, which isn't released yet, but it's gonna be 100% recyclable and 100% made out of recycled TPU. So it's possible. There are things like, pineapple leather. The Everlane CEO replied to me and said that they're looking into bio-based leather, and he said that he knows that they can do better. My response to that is just, if you know that you can do better, why did you launch something that is not up to standard? Everlane Everlane's been really clever about their marketing with this shoe. I mean, it got me. To quote one of their very clever ads, it really does come down to us as individuals to do what we can. And I totally agree with that. What are you going to do? What is your purchase going to accomplish? When you're looking at companies and where you're gonna buy your next shoe from, do you want your dollar to go to an industry that has been proven to be one of the largest contributors to the changing climate? Or do you instead want to be a little more conscious about it and put your money towards a company that's going to be truly forward thinking and help the environment? I think that's all I have to say on this matter. Again, this video is not meant to bring Everlane down. It's not like an attack video. I hope that I came across just like not super harsh and mean. I do think that we should hold companies accountable when they miss the mark. And in my mind, this really missed the mark, and I'm really disappointed about it, and I was really hoping for better. Since everyone around me in my apartment complex can't seem to be quiet, I'm going to end the video there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you learned a thing or two. I will link everything that I used down below. If you liked this video, if you lasted this far, thank you so much. Be sure to like the video and leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and subscribe to my channel. Keep coming back. Okay, well, I hope you like my haircut, and don't buy those shoes. Okay, I will see everybody soon. Bye-bye.